Hi guys, welcome back. This is Beer Brothers, and we are starting our journey of Skillet. So the arrangement is, I have to listen to every single Skillet song since 1996, their Skillet album, the first debut album that they had. And in return, he has to listen to every single NF song. And we're gonna react to every single one of them. So this might be like a couple videos.
More than a couple.
More than a couple. It's gonna be a long journey, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there fast because I think we both can listen to music for like 3 hours long on nonstop. So, yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about Skillet's 1996, like how they originated, what the
It's a complicated story.
Okay.
But essentially they started out in like youth groups, and one of their pastors, I think it was John's pastor, told him that like he and the one guy should like come together and start a band.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's I think since they were in youth groups at the time, Skillet started out very like heavy Christian themes, like you could tell it throughout all their songs. And now that they're mainstream, you probably won't hear it as much, but you'll still hear John talking about the word and not like shying away from it.
Yeah. Can you tell me, like, you also said that because you told me earlier that there's named Skillet because they're a mishmash of different genres. Can you tell me what the members are and what their genre is mostly?
So
if you need me to look it up, I can. It's not.
It would be better to look it up, but like the way that I heard them say it was like all the members come from different genres.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't just come up with one genre, so they mixed it all together, and they called themselves Skillet because it's like they were throwing all these ingredients into a pan.
Okay.
And
yeah.
Voila.
What are the names of the band? The main members of the band.
So they've actually had a big lineup.
Yeah.
So I can't really name all of the members of Skillet. But the original member that we only need to know about is John Cooper.
Okay, John Cooper, and he's still a member, by the way.
Well, yeah, he's the lead singer.
He's the lead singer, yeah.
Yeah, so, I know...
Was the drummer always Ledger?
No.
Okay.
So, I know that, I only know, I think Trey McClurkin, I'm blanking on the one guy's name that started with John. It's going to come back to me at some point. But then you had Ben Cassica. Lori Peters was the first female drummer for Skillet.
Okay.
And his wife, Corey, which they met back in like the late 90s. And they ended up like getting married before Alien Youth, or probably even before then.
Alien Youth, is that an album?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Did she, when they were first getting together, did she play for them as well? Or
yes.
was she part of the band? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's basically how we're gonna go with this. So me, I've listened to some Skillet, mainly the more recent Skillet. Never heard of. I didn't know that the Skillet album was Skillet, and I definitely haven't heard any of these songs that are on here, except maybe Saturn once. So we're gonna start out with the first song in the album, and that song is. Let me check real quick.
Promise
Blender. It's so the song that we're gonna be doing today is "Promise Blender" by Skillet from their 1996 album Skillet. So let's go ahead and do this. When I was a young boy, I saw a vision of your face. So I made my first promise to
vibe with the band.
I would say that they've definitely grown and a little bit faster.
No problem.
What's the second one?
On my knees for the last time, I could rip my heart out every day. I made my last promise to you. Yeah, I could cry a million tears a day. All I would hear you say is you are the promise taker. You are the promise taker. You are the promise taker. Put them in your promise splendor.
Wow. Definitely, like, I would say it's not that they've gone and shied away from, I would say it's not that they've gone and shied away from that type of hardcore rock, because they haven't. They still have those really. Can you move in a little bit? I'm not sure if you're on a camera or not. You're like scooching all the way over there.
Well, I feel I don't feel myself moving, but I feel myself,
Yeah.
like, definitely. Okay.
Okay. So it's I feel like it's not that they shied away from that hardcore rock anthem for their chorus. They haven't, because there's songs that they do that for modern day. The thing is, their blending and their music blending has been increasingly gotten better to the point where you can actually understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and look up the lyrics.
Like, you could hear promise taker, promise breaker, promise maker, and promise blender. But, like, other than that,
I can hear the verse, obviously, but
it was just a little bit harder.
no, it's what I meant is it was hard to hear the chorus.
Oh, gotcha.
It was really hard for me to make it out. Like the first time that he sings the chorus, I couldn't make anything out.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so when I was a young boy, I saw a vision of your face. I made my first promise to you. Yeah, you know, it took some time. But I love you now. I realize I am a promise maker. I'm a promise breaker on the road to faithfulness. Sometimes I sometimes forget your name, but I can still see your face. Time after time, I hear you calling my name. I got a name for me. I got a name. I got a name for me. I got a name. I am the promise maker, the promise breaker. I am the promise maker, promise breaker. On my knees for the last time, I could rip my heart out every day. Made you my last promise to you. Yeah, I could cry a million tears a day. And all I would hear you say is, you are the promise taker, you are the promise taker, you are the promise taker. You put them in your promise blender. You took me and you owned me and you bought me and you loved me. Promise keeper, keeper, keeper. Okay. Yeah, so definitely a lot of strong Christian themes. Yeah, I would say yes, and it would actually be a song that I would listen to again and a lot, because AC/DC goes that hardcore, even more hardcore than that sometimes, and I listen to them quite often. What?
I didn't say that Skillet like shied away from their hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
What I was saying was their Christian themes aren't as heavy as they were.
Well, even when you hear the song first, I would say you wouldn't even come to think of the Christian themes too much, because it's talking about more of him breaking promises and him making promises and then breaking them.
But there's like a promise blender, and I really want to know what that is. No, like I'm being serious because like it's after listening to it, there's a lot of stuff in there, especially like biblical references about Jesus being like
the promise keeper, the promise, and it's like I said, the majority of the song is about the artist talking about how he's the one that makes the promise, he's the one that takes the promise, and then he's the one that breaks the promise. But in return, Jesus still gives him a name, still keeps his promises, and puts all the little things that he did as the artist, all the breaking and everything together into a blender.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's talking about. Which, I mean, if like I said, if you listen to the song and just listen to the song for first time, or you don't necessarily think about the Christian themes too much, you really get carried away in the music. I believe the beat was pretty nicely done. I feel like the mixing was a little bit off for the chorus between the vocals and the beat. And then there was one point where the way that the chorus caught off, I felt like it was a little bit off. But overall, it was a pretty decent song for a 1996 album.
Yeah.
So, and their first one, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beard Brothers out.